Em and Michael Lucas.
I've just been sitting there in the corner clutching my little anxiety blanket.
This is Emsolation.
I'm Michael, I'm from the suburbs, I can't play sport, and would anyone like to watch Aladdin on VHS?
Could I have birthed them? No? Feel free to perv.
I mean, your genes are very strong, very strong.
I can't believe my genes aren't in there going, scat, get out.
You're in Emsolation.
Am I putting a googie egg up my joots? Hi, welcome to episode 28 of Emsolation. I'm having a day. You know, when Scott's gone out surfing for the day and I'm trying to do this podcast, which I actually love, and I've got to go and get this probe up my joots. I'm stressed about my ovaries. I've had irregular cycles. You know, when you just have everything, it just feels like the world is conspiring. This is the fourth intro I've done because the other three I spoke about Pauline Hanson, and then I was like, oh, I don't really want to invite that firestorm into my life. But God, so I'm just going to briefly mention it. Hi. Let's get up back on track. I'm just trying to let you know where I am at emotionally right now. I'm fine. I'm good. I am. I'm just a bit frazzled. We hit 500,000 downloads as well. And today is our 3-month anniversary. So happy anniversary, you guys. Thank you for being in this community and contributing to those downloads. We'd love to do a bonus ep this week, Michael and I. So if you've got a question you'd like to ask me or him or both of us, you can email it to hello@emrussiano.com. You can either write it or record your voice asking it, which is my preference because I love hearing you guys on the podcast. And the Emsolation t-shirts are still available. You can get them until Wednesday, July the 8th, and then we'll take them offline. Yeah, it's just a great way for you to support the pod if you get something out of it. Grab a tea, have some pod pride. So, yeah, God, there's so many things I hit on then and you're all going, Jesus, Em, one at a time. So Pauline Hanson has said some pretty awful racist things on the Today Show, and then Channel 9, because there was a fair public outcry, have dropped her as talent. And I guess I just really quickly want to say that Channel 9, when they ask her to come on the show, they know exactly what they're getting. So I think we need to have a good look at them and why they continue to ask her to comment on matters that aren't her specialty, that aren't her area of expertise. If you're talking about politics, fine. But they continuously ask a known, well, I guess you can call her, she's racist and she's been bigoted, to comment on matters of race and religion. They know that they're going to get a provocative soundbite, that's then going to get them headlines, and so the cycle of life continues. And I think it's really irresponsible and dangerous of those producers to continue to ask her to comment on people who are already marginalised and who are already vulnerable. And she specifically commented on the people who are in lockdown in Melbourne in the community towers because it's become a COVID hotspot. And they're going through it at the moment. They're trying to get access to food and medication and other relatives, and it's a horrible situation, only made worse by asking Pauline Hanson to comment on that community who are largely made up of migrants and people who have sought refuge in this country. Also, the other thing I want to briefly touch on is the idea that her free speech has been infringed upon. Free speech is kind of meant to encourage debate and reflection, and that's not what she's doing. What she's doing is hate speech. And hate speech seeks to dehumanize people and make them question their right to exist. So don't buy into the fact that she's had a platform taken away and therefore, you know, we're censoring her. That's not what's happening at all. Hate speech is the enemy of free speech. And I think Pauline Hanson will find a nice home on Sky News. She'll be on other networks. And I'm glad she's had this platform removed. I am. And my heart really goes out to all the people in those community housing in the towers, and I hope that everyone else remembers their humanity in this situation and remember, you know, what if it was you? Now, I did also mention that I've got to go and have a probe put up my wares. My cycles have been all over the place. I've been just getting surprise periods, and I've been really hormonal, more so than usual. So I rang my doctor and she's like, okay, you got to have blood tests and you've got to go have an internal exam. I'm off today to do that. I always put my health last. To you, I have to be basically keeling over to go and do anything. I have so many Band-Aids and so many niggles, and I thought, you know what? You are 41 years old. You need to take control of your health. I I don't like to do that. You know, if a family member gets unwell, straight away off to the doctor, off to the professional. But I just have to be, you know, I really wait too long until it's too late. So, yeah, that's what's happening today. And I wondered if you guys do that. And I thought, well, maybe I can inspire you to address whatever health niggle you've got. And this could be your mental health also. If there's something that you've been ignoring, a skin check, a pap test. They're not called pap smears anymore. They're called pap tests because apparently the word smear put people off. You know, I'm good on that front because the last time I went to see my OB after I gave birth, he gave me a surprise pap test. I was just there. He was checking out my bits. Then he said, let's do a pap test. Speculum was in me before I could blink and it was done. Drive-by. And I'm kind of glad because I don't know if I would have done it otherwise. All right, so that's your challenge for today. You need to address whatever weird health niggle, or maybe it's not weird, maybe it's completely normal, you've been brushing to the side because you've been too busy and looking after some other people. All right, well, it's time I bring in Michael. And because this is the 9 millionth time I've recorded this intro, and I don't even know if this will be the one that will make it, but I think it will because I really got to get to my point, man. Michael and I... There's not a lot of Britney talk today. We really dissect the backlash that Hamilton's been receiving, and it has been receiving backlash. And that Hamilton is the musical based on the Founding Fathers, one in particular, Alexander Hamilton, and it's one of my favourite musicals. It was on Friday night. We had a viewing party, an elaborate dress-up viewing party, but I was also grappling with some of the things that were being written about Hamilton. So we're going to talk about that. We also obviously have to address our darling Poe leaving Masterchef, our time necromancer, our lover of edible flowers. She's gone off into the sun, never to be forgotten. We're still both reeling from that. And also Kanye West is running for president. Yeah, because Jan to June wasn't enough of a shit show. July felt like it really needed to assert itself. All right, I'm bringing Michael in now. Thank you for bearing with me. This is going to have to be the one. Shit, I don't have any more time. All right, play the music.
Em Rusciano and Michael Lucas. This is Emsolation.
All right, here he is, still, as I said, reeling from one of our favourites leaving the Masterchef kitchen. Have you recovered, Michael Lucas?
When you said reeling, I actually didn't know, knowing what we're about to talk about, there are so many things that I could be reeling from at this particular point. But you are correct. Very high on the list would be Poe's elimination from Masterchef. And yeah, look, the effects are still echoing around my house. It was a big night.
Your husband...
There was an emergency trip to 7-Eleven to get 2 family-size Cadbury blocks of chocolate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you should explain. Adrian, your husband, is, well, even like he was distraught. You were dual texting me at the same time last night.
Oh, yeah. His investment in Poe, I mean, it's been going for 11 years now. She was just such a breakthrough performer, and the notion that, that this Asian woman would do so well in a reality show, the attachment is profound. It's profound.
Well, we should mention Adrian is Chinese-Italian, so
yes,
this is why specifically he was so happy to he felt represented in the MasterChef kitchen.
Oh, but love of Poe is something that we share with his mother, and but I also love her just because she's not only providing Asian Australian representation, she's providing representation for slightly unhinged creatives, and I identify with that side of it.
Me too. Me too. And just wanting to, when well-meaning people come over and try and interrupt you while you're trying to be a slightly unhinged creative, her ability to bat them away without even looking up. I really was sad to see her go last night, but I just think she's bigger than MasterChef.
Oh, absolutely.
She's ready to, I just think it's okay. She doesn't need to win. I mean, as Callum said so beautifully, that brought a tear to my eye, when people think MasterChef, they think Poe. Me
too. And I'm glad she went out taking a big, possibly misjudged swing to try and do some sort of redemption cook.
What the hell is a redemption cook? It sounds like something I don't even know. But when she started rolling the term around redemption cook, I'm like, who brought up the idea of a redemption cook? And but before we get to that, there's something that I need to address, that we need to address. So my relationship with Andy.
Where's it gone now?
Needs to be discussed.
I feel like it's just getting worse. Is it?
Well, I think there's this idea that I don't like Andy as a person, and that is not true, because we have a lot of mutual friends who say he's a really lovely guy. But my running gripe with him this season has been his contribution or lack thereof to the judging process. And I've been backed up by former contestants who have come out and said, yeah, he's great, but he doesn't actually give me anything to go on. Melissa and Jock at least give me helpful things that I can tangibly cling to. But Andy, you'll just like kind of go, yeah, mate, what are you going to do? God, running out of time.
You don't get something valuable from someone saying, oh, it's bloody good. That doesn't help.
But I just want to make it clear, I have no problem with Andy as a human being, as a man, as a citizen of the world. He seems very, like I said, he's nothing but a lovely person. But I do feel, as people criticise AFL umpires when they make bad calls, I do feel it's okay to point out the fact where he falls short in his job. And I want to say I saw a real turning point in Andy. Andy was using terms last night that were technical, and I can't help but think perhaps a slight change has come over young Andrew. I mean, he's still trying to figure out his personal style, and that is cool. I'm happy to be.
He is. Bold choice made last night.
I'm happy to be on that journey with him.
It was exposed ankles last night, wasn't it?
It was a forest green linen suit with a white T-shirt, and the pants were cropped above the ankle. But they weren't a fitted pant. They were almost a culotte. And look, let's bring culottes back for men. Sure, what could go wrong? And then no sock, and then like what you would call a Peter Pan leather buckle shoe, like a leprechaun shoe. Like a pirate shoe.
Can you truly pull off exposed ankles if you have a receding hairline?
I feel like the only people who can pull off exposed ankles are really fit, sassy Europeans / gay men in 2015. That's kind of my...
There have been times when I have attempted to, I think I've even sent pictures to you of myself wearing an item going, can I pull this off? And it just, one word comes back, no, full stop. And I really appreciate you put the full stop, just so... Don't think I haven't given this thought. I've given it thought and I've completed the thought. No.
I just feel like socks with no shoes for men is a privilege, not a right. And you just have to try and figure out which side of that you fall on. It looks great with something. Like I know quite a few men, especially within my life, who really, like Joel Creasy and his boyfriend Jack both pull that look off beautifully.
They're the first two people you think of, really, when you go think who can rock an exposed ankle.
Yeah, expose those perfect ankles all you want. But I also think that wardrobe went wrong with Andy because he had the culottes on. He had the kind of short, weird bootleg thing happening. So I think it might have been better if the pants were a bit more fitted. I don't know, but totally cool. Go on that style journey, and that's all I want to say about Andy right now.
Certainly not the end of the matter. I think we can be sure of that.
No.
The book is not closed.
It could be. I'm just going to let him live his life now. I think everyone understands because the amount of people that are forwarding me Andy content now, obviously I've got a bit of a reputation.
You don't want to become known as the public figure who leads the anti charge, because that's not what you're about.
In my experience, when women like me go after straight, attractive, popular men, we tend to come off second best. So I am gracefully withdrawing from the conversation about Andy, because
somewhere Yumi Steins just fell to her knees and screamed to the heavens, yes, she's right.
Oh, any woman who you've seen fade from the public light, and Yumi certainly hasn't. She's amazing. She's still out there. But yes, we do tend to come off second best in those scenarios because, those poor, straight, good-looking white men in television, they just can't get a break. They just need people to be kind to them all the time. So, yeah, we're going to miss Poe. Very sad. Look, my hot tip is Amelia. I think Amelia can't be beaten. She wore a white power blouse in the kitchen last night. That is confidence. That is saying, come at me, motherfuckers. I'm going to wear a white blouse to cook in because I'm not cooking more than one round, bitches.
A white blouse, and also it had these white cotton sort of buds all over it as well. So it was like the ultimate food or food splash catching attire.
Yeah. So much arrogance in that choice. I loved it. And then we had the other one, beautiful Laura in the leopard and leather. This girl was also like, I'm only doing one round. I got my fake tan on. I'm going to be up with a gantry looking amazing. I'm not going to be down there with you riffraff.
Oh, I like that they're differentiating themselves style-wise. They're going sort of Glinda and Elphaba at the moment, and I'm there for it.
I love Laura. I don't understand why she gets so much shit. I really like her. But I think Amelia is going to win. And I think Reynolds, you know in Strictly Ballroom how Paul Mercuria's character, I can't remember his name. What's his name in the movie?
Scott Hastings.
Yeah, Scott Hastings. He was kind of natural and had no technical. It was all about feel.
Yeah.
He's Reynolds, right? I think
I think Reynolds pretty technical.
No, remember Amelia kept saying, "Oh, Reynolds doesn't follow rules. Reynolds self-taught Reynolds."
Oh,
she kept saying that.
Yeah, okay.
If they get a technical dish like they had last night, Amelia will win. It just depends on the challenges that come. If they get something that's like you have to stick to the rules, Amelia. But if they go for some kind of wild gastronomy creation, Reynolds. So they're my top two.
My heart just wants Reese.
Oh, I love Reese. Oh, my God, I didn't even tell you. Did you see the tweet that Melissa...
No, I've seen it. I haven't brought it up with you yet. It's obviously... It's an intense turning point in your life.
Guys.
Explain.
Melissa Leong from Masterchef, the judge, who we're all obsessed with, tweeted me last...
Magnificent hair last night.
Oh, everything was magnificent. Tweeted last night that I could join her and Reese for a rosé to watch RuPaul's Drag Race. How's that? Yes. I'm in. I'm done. I'm already planning my outfit. I've got 4 lined up. I got my cockatoo dress hanging already, ready to go with sequins that I wore for Mardi Gras.
Also, the pressure on you when you enter that social situation as well. I mean, you have to nail it. You have to be so engaging and wonderful that they will never want to watch Drag Race any other way. But with you can't go in, bring the wrong food or make the wrong comment and be cast out and never invited again. You've got to infiltrate.
No, I feel like, I've just got to walk in and be honest with them. Guys, I might shit myself. I'm so nervous. So let's just see how we go. Look, we do need to move on from MasterChef, sadly. But I woke up to a text message from you yesterday just with the headline, Kanye West running for president. Mm-hmm. I'm not shocked. And as I text you back, I'm not shocked. And I just think people have overlooked, is Kim Kardashian the most supportive wife on the face of the planet? Because
it's awe-inspiring, really. I mean, the stuff that she puts off, obviously there's an upside. I mean, he's quite rich and that's a hell of a house they live in, but holy moly, wouldn't you love to just get on the ground floor of her reactions when shit like this happens?
Because I just feel like she would have seen the tweet yesterday. Oh, for fuck's sake, Kanye. Shit.
I would hope that she had some advance warning, but I mean, there's there's certainly no indication of that.
Nah. She rang Mum. Oh, fuck, Mum, he's tweeted he's running for president. What do I do? I can't do it, man. Oh, Mum. I just think Kim found out on Twitter.
Yeah.
And then she's tweeted her support. And I want everyone to relax. Kanye West is not running for president. I did a little bit of research. He hasn't filed with the Federal Election Commission yet. He hasn't gotten the signatures he needs to join Biden and Trump on the ballots. And the deadline has passed in New York and Texas. They're pretty big states. I just don't. I feel like he's got an album coming, or I don't know, he's on some kind of manic upswing. But there is no way he's going to have his shit together to run by November. I mean, he did predict it in the 2015 MTV Music Awards. Sure.
My favourite awards ceremony.
And I do want to point out that a West Musk ticket, because Elon Musk tweeted immediately, I support you, everyone's favourite villain, billionaire, Is a West Musk ticket any worse than a Trump-Pence ticket, I ask you?
True. I mean, I still don't want it. Look, reality show that I would watch, absolutely. But reality I want to live in, absolutely not. Especially because I think he'd pilfer votes from Biden and whoever Biden's going to run with.
But don't forget, Kanye West is anti-abortion, thinks slavery was a choice, is a sexual assault sympathiser. He's not a person, and all those things obviously could apply to Donald Trump also. I think there should be a rule, though, put in place. If you've never governed, you can't be leader of the free world. Why isn't that rule in place? Because Trump had never governed and then he became president. And to me, it feels like, you can't drive a taxi without a license, but you can become the president of the United States if you've got enough money. I don't understand. No,
I mean, it'd be good to. I'd appreciate it if they reviewed that system. Sure,
oh my God.
But you'd like to think that the voters have enough sense, but that's been powerfully disproved. Obviously, we don't have that system. You've got to come up through the parliament, which has its drawbacks. But at the end of the day, if it's protecting us from something like that,
I know. If it's protecting us from a Dickie Wilkins run at bloody Prime Minister, then good. But look, we are speaking of American political systems. Segue. Friday night.
Beautiful. Yeah.
We watched Hamilton, as was intensely documented on my social media. Look, for once in our relationship, I think you out-costumed me. My mother called me specifically yesterday to say how good you looked.
Wow.
And pointed out that you looked better than me. So that was, Jenny loves that. So she was on the phone.
I got a couple of messages saying, wow, like looking like you're in the 1700s really suits you. And I'm not quite sure how to take that. Is that what you want? Said. I'm here trying to be a man of the present in 2020.
Yeah, she's like, founding father really suits Michael. So you were dressed up as a founding father and I was in some costumes I cobbled together, and we had food.
I just want to point out that Em's costume came entirely from her wardrobe. Yeah. She basically just opened the wardrobe, plucked it out. You should see setting foot in Em's wardrobe, which is now a room. I mean, it is. In fact, it's more than one. There's just sort of your regular wear, which is bigger than most people's, but then in addition to that, you've got storage.
Yeah, and I want it noted, I had a hoop skirt at the ready. Like I was able to pluck a hoop skirt from my wardrobe. But we watched it and it was just so magic. Oh, I cried. It's everything I wanted it to be. But I'd had a little bit of a wobbly moment with Hamilton during the week, and you and I are discussing it because everything's being examined at the moment. Everything is being pulled apart and rethought of, and Hamilton was kind of coming under fire. And I said to you, God, is it okay that we love Hamilton? So, I mean, I want you to explain, why was Hamilton being criticised?
Well, it's actually not a new criticism. It's been bubbling away ever since it came up. Well, I mean, as we know, Hamilton was one of the founding fathers. And I suppose the nub of the criticism is that, of course, in reality, almost all those founding fathers, either if they didn't personally own slaves, they certainly married into families that owned slaves. And Hamilton was no exception. And if anyone who's familiar with the show would know that almost all the main parts it's played by a diverse cast. They have not cast a whole lot of white men to play the founding fathers. No. Thank God, because they'd all have to rap, which would have been an abomination against nature. And so the way that Lin-Manuel speaks about that is he's sort of saying, we're putting diverse people back into the picture with our casting. But I guess the nub of the main criticism is, well, in actual fact, there were black people, there were Native American Indians that were part of America back then, and the story just doesn't show them at all. And the most stinging criticism is there's a very famous song from it called The Room Where It Happened, and the lyric chants out, nobody else was in the room where it happened. And as some people have pointed out, well, there were other people. There would have been slaves in the room where it happened, and the musical it does mention slavery, and it even has a bit of debate about slavery, but it certainly doesn't represent any characters that were slaves, and it completely ignores anything to do with Native Americans whatsoever. And so it catches some criticism for that, rightly. And Lin-Manuel has spoken about it a fair bit. He's
what's he said?
Well, look, in some ways he hasn't helped his cause, because at one point he said, I did write a song that was a full-on debate about slavery, but we cut it because we needed the story to keep moving along. And that didn't really help. But I mean, there's a lot of different ways to look at it. Like, another thing that you could say is, one thing that the musical does is, by casting it the way that they've cast it, obviously when you see those performers play the Founding Fathers, they're playing these revolutionaries in the 17 and 1800s, but they kind of look like the Black Lives Matter movement of today. And in fact, like a lot of the most famous lines in Hamilton have been put on placards that have been held by people at Black Lives Matter marches, like, history has its eyes on you and everything. And another way that you could look at it is what the musical does is kind of shows how the kind of revolutionary spirit of the Black Lives Matter protest was there in the Founding Fathers. So when Trump, for example, stands up against Mount Rushmore and condemns Black Lives Matter and sort of says we must protect, the legacy in the Founding Fathers, well, Hamilton is a rebuke of that, saying that really the Black Lives Matter movement is capturing their spirit more than you guys are, and really you're like the King of England. So in that way, you could read it as having a progressive message, but it's just, to what extent is it wiping the real Black and Native American characters that existed in America at the time out of the story? And how problematic is that? But
is it going to be like Gone with the Wind? Like, are we going to look back on Hamilton and be like, oh God?
Well, my personal take on it's interesting that something that was only written 5 years ago it has been coming under this scrutiny. Mind you, it always was. Like, even when it first was performed, this was questioned. The only thing I would say is that Hamilton the musical does obviously take the position that slavery's bad, and the fact that Hamilton and Eliza adopted abolitionist positions is seen as a good thing in the musical. But also I would say it's a pretty complicated portrait of him. It's not saying he was this absolute shining hero. Quite the opposite. Like, over the course of the musical, you see these things that were brilliant about him, and you also see him being an absolute dickhead. So
yeah, he was flawed. It's not a total celebration of a man saying he was perfect and what a wonderful human. It does show he was very flawed. They all were.
Yeah, and Jefferson is criticised in the musical for having slaves. But then there's problematic things like George Washington comes off as a bit of a hero, but he was like Jefferson. He had a whole lot of slaves. So it just goes to show how hard it is to effectively tell the stories set in that era, or historical stories from that era. It's so complicated now. But I don't think it's the same.
I don't think it's hard.
You don't think so?
I think I do. I mean, I love Hamilton and I love the music. And before, I'd started to try and read more and educate myself more, I thought, oh, wow, this is so progressive and incredible. And then I kind of read more into it and talked to you about it, as I often do when I'm confused about things. And he did leave out, by choice, for a plot line reason, Native American Indians and slaves in general. And I just think someone as clever as him could have found a way, if he wanted to, if he really wanted to, and I think he's so talented. It hurts me to say this. I think he could have found a way to include that, because it would have been so important, because of the audiences that initially saw Hamilton were all these white rich people. And wouldn't it be great to educate all the white rich people on what their ancestors did properly, instead of kind of, and I just think he could have done it if he really wanted to.
Well, and it does indisputably. Like, if you're someone that has all this reverence for the Founding Fathers, then the musical only really gives you more. It doesn't. No. I mean, it might make you feel a bit complicated about what they were doing in their personal lives, but at the end of the day, it leads you to a place of kind of being inspired what they did again, and doesn't really make you grapple with, but how do we square that off with the fact fact that the economy was built on slavery and that they were all slave owners. It doesn't really do that. But nor has it gone with the wind. Nor does it present a system where it's like, yeah, they loved it, and it was worth fighting.
But there's also the argument of the founding fathers. I mean, they found America. They're the reason America.
Yeah,
it's their fault. Kanye West is running for president. That's really, isn't it?
And they would also say that, like, you know, all Americans have inherited, you know, what they established, including all the performers in that musical. And that's the other thing you can't underestimate by making it as sort of essentially a hip hop opera and casting it that way. One of the most amazing things about it is seeing these diverse performers get the kind of roles that they just don't get. I mean, outside of shows like The Colour Purple, they're very rarely cast in those leads, and that's one of the most staggering things about it is how talented every one of those performers are. Like the woman that plays Angelica and the guy that plays Aaron Burr, they're incredible performances. And watching it where you're able to see close-ups, you see how amazing they are because they're projecting to the back of the theatre, but still when you're in close-up with them, it's so truthful and their vocal performances are so strong, and they just wouldn't have got those roles any other way.
But I think it's important to remember that these issues are so nuanced, and it's hard to find nuance online, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. It's really hard, and that's why I don't agree with cancel culture, because you can't have nuanced discussions where people have the opportunity to grow and you know, contribute, and that's why you can't say no, gone forever, I don't want to talk about it, because then how do things change? So
exactly. And I would say one of the good thing, if you delve into some of the articles about it, one of the things that's really refreshing about it is a lot of people that have written these criticisms come out the gates and say, firstly, I love this show. I love the songs. The amount of talent is insane, but I'm grappling with these questions about it. And that is a sort of a good way to come into the debate, as opposed to, you know, this person needs to be struck away.
But that's how I feel about a lot of things that have been culturally problematic. A lot of talented people were involved in it, not just one person.
Yeah.
So if you wipe out something, then you're also kind of disengaging from the work of really clever people who have nothing to do with the initial. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just. Yeah, because those performers, when you watch Hamilton, you know, and you watch that diverse cast be the most talented cast I've ever seen, you know, you can't discount that. You can't go, oh, well, you know, I don't think they would want you to discount them because the story didn't cover what it needed to, and there's faults and flaws in how they portrayed that story. That's what I'm still going to love it and sing the songs and watch it. But while I do that, I will grapple at the same time with, you know, how it came about. So
yeah, both things can exist at once. Your love for it and also your questioning about it, which is tricky. But
my marriage falls under that sentence. So many things in my life I love.
And also, let's just face it, every single thing we have brought up on this show.
Let's bring it up.
I'm 365
Come on, do it. Everything has a problem.
Too Hot to Handle, The Little Mermaid. We bring it up and we go bananas over it, and then we do a subsequent episode where we talk about everything that's wrong with it.
It's true. Everything we love is problematic on some level. And we look back at everything.
Even Madonna.
Now that we have these fresh eyes, we go, oh my God. It was systematic. It was something that we just consumed without even realising that she was ripping off so many cultures that didn't belong to her. But I think we can settle on, for people listening going, well, Em and Michael, what the fuck then? I think it is okay to love something and acknowledge it's problematic. And as long as you'll learn from it and know what that is, it doesn't make you a bad person for singing like a prayer, you know?
That's exactly right. Beat it, however. No, I don't know. I'm confused.
Oh, God. Michael Jackson is not a topic for right now. I'm too unsettled about everything. It's just, I talked about Pauline Hanson at the top. You haven't heard it yet.
Oh, God.
Oh, I don't care about her. I'm really cross with the shows that keep putting her on.
Today?
Yeah, like that's got to stop. That it is actually negligence to go, oh, there's a topic about vulnerable, marginalised people. Who can we get? Oh, let's get Pauline Hanson. That's not who you get. Because it's on the shoulders of the producers.
And they've kept her going for years. They've breathed life into her political career.
We've got to stop with her now because she's a racist person saying racist things. There's no surprise there. It's the people who give her the megaphone and amplify it that we need to go after now. And we need to go to their sponsors, their advertisers, and we need to really put pressure on them to stop giving that woman a platform. It has to stop.
I agree.
Jesus.
I know.
God,
Jesus. We've really taken a sharp turn from, it's not about Britney's Instagram today, is it? Although
there's no jizz, not one jizz chat, nothing.
We haven't mentioned the flower delivery Britney Instagram moment, which I think has taken it to a new level.
So many people have tagged us in Britney getting the flowers and putting the yellow top on with 80s music.
No, it's The Weeknd, Blinding Lights. It's a current song.
Oh, I thought it was. It sounds,
Weeknd. Yeah, it sounds like it. And then she just marches back and forth on a constant loop for ages. It's weirdly riveting.
Look, I've done a bit of research as well. It's been a strange old weekend. She does have a security team that lives on the compound with her, and she is still under conservatorship. So she is supervised, and that really
I love that you feel such a duty of care.
I'm really worried about it.
It's quite beautiful.
No, but I also don't want to. I don't want anyone listening to think that I'm making fun of her or there's irony. I'm someone who grew up a Britney Spears fan, obviously, and I worry for her. But she seems so happy. So again, it's complicated and torn. But I did check that she's supervised, and it does bring me some comfort that there are people there with her. So yeah. That's, oh my God, we need to stop. I don't know where we're going to go next. We're going to try and take on Nazism or something, and I need to go and have a coffee. I've got to prepare for my ultrasound. Got to go and get ready for that thing up my clacker.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. Is that something you covered in the introduction as well?
Yes.
Okay.
I did. That wasn't just I've talked about that in the intro as well, but I really do have to go and get ready for that. All right. Wow. I don't even know how we're going to write the bio for this episode.
No, we didn't even cover the fact that we're in some horrible second surge and probably on the brink of lockdown too. That's what it feels like. The sort of Damocles hanging over our head at the moment. But that'll be fun.
I can't. We'll talk about that on Thursday. If Melbourne goes back into lockdown, like if my daughter can't go to school next week, I don't know what I'm going to do. Please send help. Please send help. My 13-year-old is being 13. Okay. All right. Have a good day, and I'll talk to you soon.
Talk soon. Bye.
Okay, bye.
This is Emsolation.
Okay, well, thank you very much for listening. God, it went everywhere, didn't it? I'm probably going to be laying awake tonight worried about this episode because it's a more serious one, but I think it's important. Highs and lows, ebbs and flows, stalagmites, stalactites. Thanks for being a part of our community. Go and get yourself checked. Remember, I challenged you to do that. Go and get whatever you've been ignoring checked and let me know how you go. We'll hear you guys on Thursday. And please send us a question for our Q&A bonus ep this week. I'll look forward to that. You guys have to do the heavy lifting. We'll just freewheel those answers. I might do it. I'll make sure we answer them at night when we've both had a little wine. You'll get better answers out of us that way. All right, guys, chat soon. Take care. Bye.